Before the jazz, the masks, and the anime drip, Persona started out as a gritty dungeon crawler with demons, guns, and serious identity issues. Let's rewind past the Joker memes and the Persona glow up to the real origin story of the series. Yeah, well, that's not what this video is about, is it? But fine, I'll indulge you. So here's the deal with SMT-if. It starts off with this guy named Hazuma who's had enough of being bullied, so naturally he summons demons, as one does, and in a twist of fate ends up pulling his school into the Expanse. The main character of SMT-if, named Tamaki, isn't okay with this, so she borrows a program from the school's computer club that lets her communicate and summon demons to fight back. Tamaki saves the school, Hazuma dies, school returns, the end. Good enough for you? Fast forward and we're back on track with Persona 1. And because I love you guys so much, I took your suggestions and I'll be using retro achievements to squeeze every last drop of joy out of this game. For those unaware, retro achievements just adds, well, retro achievements to classic games. It also makes it so you can't use save states or rewinds, so you can make sure none of this run will be cheated. God knows I wanted to with some of these. Retro achievements for Persona 1 has a grand total of 118 achievements. Holy shit, that's more than Persona 5 Royal and Persona 3 Reload combined. Well, let's break it down. Persona 1 kicks off the only way a Persona game knows how, at school, because nothing says epic psychological RPG like homeroom and hallway gossip. Now, if you told me back in high school that one day I'd be playing a game about high school, I probably would have called you something that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube anymore. Our main characters here are students at St. Hermelin High, your standard issue Japanese anime school, where uniforms are crisp, teachers are irrelevant, and the students are out here summoning ancient powers via cursed rituals. You know, casual teen stuff. And what is this ritual called? The Persona game. I love when they say the title. So who's in our squad? Well, we've got our silent protagonist, who I'll be naming Naoya Naorin Toto, because it's the closest thing we have to a canon name for this guy. We then have Maki Sonomura, Masao Mark Inaba, Kei Nanjo, Eriko Eli Kirishima, Yukino Mayuzumi, Hidehiko Brown Wesugi, and Yuka Ayase. We're missing one guy, but don't worry, we'll get him later. He's got that DLC energy before DLC was even a big thing. You gotta work for that friendship. You know, it's kind of funny just how similar this cast is in design to the Persona 5 cast. Blonde girl with twin tails using a whip, boy rebelling against life who uses the Chariot Arcana. I mean, come on, I know you see it too. And while there's so much I want to say about this cast, I can't dive into it too much. This video will be 3 hours, but I definitely do like these guys. Anyways, the gang gathers in a classroom to perform the Persona game ritual and nothing happens. Case closed, rumor debunked, game over, roll credits. Except nope. Suddenly, a little ghost girl appears looking like she's late to an audition for The Shining, and before anyone can say this seems fine, or else that by lightning and dropped like we were hit by a group-wide Thunderbolt crit courtesy of Pikachu himself. We're introduced to Philemon, Dream Realm resident and part-time life coach who gives us our magic demon powers, and then, oh boy, does the music hit. Now, a lot of people say the music ruins the pacing in this game, but personally, I love it. After collapsing like a bunch of dominoes, our teacher suggests we go get checked out of the hospital. Also that we should visit our friend Maki while we're there. Naturally, we ignore that and head to class 2-4 instead, where we talk to Maki's friend and snag our first achievement, a meek girl. All we had to do was agree to deliver a message to Maki in the hospital. Hooray! Only 117 more to go. Then it's off to prep for another achievement. See, in Persona 1, you don't get every party member by default. You're forced to pick some and ghost the others. On the main Sebec route, you'll only get one optional recruit, so choose wisely. We'll be breaking down the branching story later, but for now, we head up to the teacher's lounge, and one of the teachers mentions someone messing around upstairs. We investigate and bump into Reiji Kido, who gives us the cold shoulder. Reiji's almost like that hidden unlockable boss character in a fighting game. We leave the school and get introduced to Nanjo's butler/caretaker Yamaoka. In the original English version of the game, he was named Alfred. Wait, does that make Nanjo Bruce Wayne? We poke fun at Nanjo's expense and we're off. But before we can even think about heading to the hospital, we've got more achievement prep to grind. So we stop by the convenience store and pick us up a hot MILF. Turns out it's Reiji's mom, and she asks us to be his friend because he has none. Yikes. Getting burned by your mom is pretty fucked up, not gonna lie. Reiji's friendship arc is already off to a tragic start. Next flight for recruiting Reiji takes us to the casino. Now, I don't know what kind of legal loophole lets high schoolers gamble, but this is 1996 we're talking about. One of the guys there tells us someone with a scar is hanging around their territory, and we make one final stop at said territory to find who else but Reiji again. Still looking like Sylvester Stallone if he got lost in an anime. No? Just me? We finally make it to the hospital to visit Maki, who's been stuck there for over a year, and while that's definitely rough, it's not as rough as what happens next. As we leave her room, the building shakes, the door vanishes, and yeah, the dead start to rise. Zombies everywhere. We find Yamaoka from earlier, who followed us to the hospital to keep an eye on Nanjo, who seems to have gotten fatally wounded by a zombie. And apparently fighting zombies is enough to jolt our main cast into waking up their personas. This will also instantly get us a nice level up, which I'm going to responsibly pump every stat point into dexterity for the remainder of the game. And on top of that, we end up picking up our second achievement. We let Nanjo grieve for all but 11.5 seconds before heading back to the hospital. Our first mini dungeon, you could say, where the game goes through all the basic tutorial stuff. We talk to a tree like a hippie on a spiritual journey and eventually reach our third achievement, where we find a nurse who's being crushed to death by a vending machine. Did you know these things kill more per year than sharks or something like that? Our choice here is we can either save her or leave her alone, but saving her is the easy winner as it gets us more XP and of course the achievement. Ellie shows up, shows off her persona Nike, and then we all head back to school.
Psych!
We're going gambling!
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it.
There are 6 achievements up for grabs here at the casino, and yes, it's as RNG infested as it sounds. And yes, I use speed up. Retro Achievements says it's not cheating, so I'm definitely going to be using it to my advantage. We underage gamble our way to the achievements Walk and Roll, Psychic, and Blackjack, for winning at slots, poker, and blackjack respectively. The rest are coming soon, I just need to preserve what's left of my sanity. Now I think it's about time I explain something important before we keep going. Persona 1 is split into 2 routes, the main Sebec route and the Snow Queen route, which canonically happens first if you're trying to follow the full timeline. But if you are going for a 100% Snow Queen run, then buckle up. This shit is brutal. Before touching the towers, we need a baseline of about 500,000 yen. We can easily do this at the casino by save scumming the Codebreaker 3rd place prize, which incidentally I earned the achievement Codebreaker for while doing this. Bare minimum, we want to be at least between level 20 and 22, but to play it safe, I hit a nice 32 because I have speed up and social life. Well, I've never heard of her. While doing this, we need to negotiate with demons to get their spell cards for fusion later. These early game demons will carry us through 95% of Snow Queen. Oh yeah, and in the middle of all this, we also find out that Maki's mom was shot, and she tells us Sebec's behind everything going on, something to do with the machine they built called the Deva system. Anyways, regardless of all that, our party splits up and I begin that grind before heading back to school. Grinding here is much easier than grinding later because we only have 3 party members, so much less XP to split between us. Honestly, I just love the mental image of 3 teenagers hauling a middle-aged woman with a gunshot wound through a demon-infested city like it's just another Tuesday. Back at school, we immediately start ignoring the demon apocalypse outside so we can kick off the Snow Queen room. First stop, we head to class 2-4 to talk to a girl who sends us to a guy literally named Devil Boy. Not actually his name, but that's what everyone calls him. He drops a rumor that the Snow Queen mask is haunted. Hey, wait a minute. This whole quest starts with a rumor? Huh. Persona 2 moment much? Near the gym, we bug the drama club about the cursed play. They clam up, but more importantly, we meet Tamaki from SMT-IF. She's arguing with this dude Tadashi and hands us a rapier, but more importantly, our next achievement. Thanks, Queen. On the 3rd floor, we ask the student council president to check the records, and he's an asshole, so we bounce. The principal overhears us snooping around, and she spills the tea that everyone who wore the mask in the play died, except Miss Seiko, our teacher. Totally normal school history. We head back to the gym, grab the mask, and boom, the Snow Queen quest is activated. The school now becomes a popsicle, and Miss Seiko gets body snatched by the Snow Queen, unlocking us the Ice Cold achievement. Fitting name considering she just turned the entire building into a Disney movie. Our mission now is to gather fragments of the Snow Queen's mirror and free Miss Seiko. Back to the casino, because nothing says heroic rescue like wasting money. This time we snag Dice Roller and Pocket Kings, but let me be real with you, Pocket Kings was the achievement equivalent to chewing glass. I spent 9 hours and 48 damn minutes of my life trying to land a straight flush. I refuse to believe the person who made this set even bothered to test this, and while I'm happy I got it,
my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
We make sure to grab a couple of Evil Ice tablets, Evil Fire tablets, and Scorching tablets for fusion, but in order to actually get all the ambrosia for our ultimate personas, we have to take on the towers in reverse order, from hardest to easiest, which I'd consider part of this 100%, but technically, only one ultimate persona is required to get an achievement. Regardless, having to take on Thanatos Tower is a very tough task, hence the grinding earlier to level 32. Next up, time to assemble our squad for this route. We have 3 options here. We have Brown, Ellie, and Nanjo. Nanjo's locked onto the Sebec route already, so we'll tell him to kick rocks and recruit Brown and Ellie instead. Ellie joins us after a quick chat, and then we meet up with Brown, where we're reminded why ISA is best girl. Please go out with me? No way. Like, have you even seen yourself in a mirror? Alright, I'm out. Laters. Wait, please. Why not? What's so bad about me? Let's see. You're fat, slow, wear the same clothes every day, laugh at everything, and I've never even seen you do anything but eat, sleep, and read manga. I don't get what keeps you going. Everything about you sucks. She and Brown unlock their personas, and the party's almost ready for Thanatos Tower. First, we hit up the Velvet Room where Igor gives us his iconic speech, though I suppose at the time, this was his first one. We start fusing the personas Lilim, Amino Uzume, Futai, and Urvashi. Lilim is straight up busted in this game. Not only does she absorb almost every element, but once we slap a scorching tablet on her, she can cast Megidolon like a casual sneeze. Then it's off to Thanatos Tower, easily the hardest content in Persona 1, where we'll meet Yuriko Yamamoto, the boss of Thanatos Tower. She tells us to blow out one of two candles. The left will seal Naoya's persona, whereas the right will seal Yukino's. Naturally, we go right. Sorry, Yukino.
Nothing personal, kid.
This tower is basically random encounter hell. Without a persona that can use a stoma to skip encounters, not that it would do us any good since we're severely underleveled compared to these demons, there's just so many battles back to back. Precisely 900,000 fights later, we finally reach the end of floor 2, snag an achievement, and find Cerberus guarding the door to Tartarus. No, not that one. Tartarus in Persona 1 is a dungeon within a dungeon. Here, we can revive any fallen personas, or just Yukino's if nobody else went down. Reclaiming them nets us the Reclaimer achievement, and we also pick up our first 3 mirror shards. After escaping Tartarus and climbing to floor 3, we use our big ol' hoard of yen on some new weapons and armor. Nothing else major happens until floor 6, where Yuriko returns with a little bit of a game for us. 2 chests. One has a mirror shard, one seals Ayase's persona. We grab the shard from the left chest because obviously I know how this game works, and we move on. Finally, we reach floor 7 and come face to face with our boss and her persona, Thanatos. Ayase continues to show why she's the best Persona 1 girl, and we fight the boss. Thanatos is a lot less menacing here than his Persona 3 counterpart, isn't he? This fight ends up dragging on quite a bit, not because it's hard, but just because she has so much health compared to us. Eventually, after she's beaten, she apologizes, admits she doesn't even like the Snow Queen, and we find out her backstory. Turns out she used to be a fairly popular girl, but under the Snow Queen's influence, she ended her own life to preserve her beauty for eternity. We part ways as sort of friends, and we get our 3 ambrosia for our ultimate personas, our mirror shard, an achievement, and from now on, Snow Queen will be quite a bit easier. Nemesis Tower's up next, and just like before, we're meeting our boss right away. This time, we meet Michiko Matsudaira. She's quite a bit more full of herself than Yuriko was, even attempting to convince Brown to be her pet, and as much as I'm into that, Brown isn't so easy to convince and tells her off. Nemesis Tower's got a little bit of a twist. No time limit, but the longer we stay, the stronger Michiko gets. And since that leads to an achievement, you already know we're about to grind like it's tradition at this point. On floor 3, we walk into a scene that's, pretty messed up. But hey, silver linings that we get the achievement Holy Cow. Toro and Devil Boy are being tortured by Michiko, and she claims that they deserve it because they're ugly. I know Persona has some very messed up situations, especially in the Persona 1 manga, but this is definitely up there for P1. She lets us know that there's 2 doors in this room. One leads to her and the key to saving these 2, while the other leads to a mirror shard and an achievement. While normally you'd think that the mirror shard is the correct choice, the only way to get all 12 is by ignoring that right door completely, so we'll have to come back for that achievement later.
I'll be back.
We proceed through the tower nice and slow because like I said, we need her to be at her strongest, but this does give us enough time to pick up all the treasure on the way for the Nemesis loot achievement. When we reach the top, Michiko tells us that we're dumb and that we should have gotten here faster so she couldn't power up. Not like that matters, I'm much stronger than she is, and we take her down in under a minute. Unlike Yuriko, Michiko leaves not really accepting that she was in the wrong, but we keep moving forward anyway, getting both the taking your time and the trapped shard achievements. Before moving on to Hypno's Tower, we stop by the cafeteria to talk to Toro, who gives us with 2 more mirror shards and the Got Milk achievement for saving him without going through that door on the right. Very worth. Hypno's Tower is our final stop here, and it's refreshingly straightforward. We find Tamaki, Tadashi, the nurse, and both principals just taking a casual nap. The gang mulls over what they can do to wake them up, but we'll get to that eventually. For now, we enter a room with a rainbow-colored door where Philemon shows up and tells us that this is the gateway to the dream world. And naturally, where there's achievements, we go. Inside, we start waking up everyone one by one and also get a nice surprise, if you can call it that. Tadashi and Tamaki are in love! While we're here in the dream world, we also end up meeting the boss of this tower, Kumi Hirose. She shows us her past, and it is pretty rough, I won't lie. Her friends were unsupportive, her parents were just awful, and she chose self-destruction at the urging of the Snow Queen so she could dream forever.
Jesus Christ.
Her desire to dream forever is very understandable and pretty easy to sympathize with. I go and give her a pinch to wake her up, which makes the boss stronger because I fear no one. But that will also lead to an achievement after the boss fight. For now, waking up everyone nets us the Dreamland achievement. After leaving the Dream Realm, we talk to our principals and friends for 2 more mirror shards and 3 achievements to boot. Weirdly, one of them is for collecting all the shards in Tartarus, even though we're not in Tartarus. I guess that's a bug on the retro achievement side of things. There's even other people who experience this exact same glitch on the website, so I know I'm not alone. We climb the tower, open all the chests, and snag the Hypno loot achievement before facing Hypnos. Also, side note, I haven't mentioned it until now, but god, the Persona 1 boss theme is a banger. One of my favorites in the entire series. Hypnos goes down about as quick as you'd expect, roughly 40 seconds or so, netting us 2 more achievements, and Kumi's able to move on having accepted her death. We then claim the final mirror shard for Demon Mirror. With all 3 towers down, we take the mirror to Miss Seiko and unfreeze her like a microwaved burrito. Since we grabbed all 12 shards, we unlock the actual boss fight, though in reality you only need 8 for this, which I handled by letting the entire party die while Naoya shoots it for 5 straight minutes. Is it optimal? Probably not. Did it work? Oh yeah, it did.
You know, I'm something of a
Persona user
myself.
I get like 1,000 level ups here, and surprise surprise, another achievement. Are you sick of hearing it yet? Too bad. We're blessed with some more lore, and turns out the Snow Queen's mask was possessed by Seiko's bestie Tomomi. She found out the mask was cursed and now holds a grudge because Seiko knew and said nothing. Then the kids realize, oh shit, the school's still frozen. The Night Queen shows up and drops that she was Tomomi's persona until the mirror split them apart. The Night Queen is also known as Nyx, and if you've played Persona 3, that name should definitely stir your memories. Well, she's not the same Nyx. According to some random info I found while digging up stuff about lore, this Nyx actually represents the public's awareness of Nyx. Basically, another avatar of Nyx like the one in Persona 3. Honestly, it's these small weird little connections to the rest of the series that make me enjoy Persona 1 and 2 so much. Just wait till Sebec's endgame. Anyways, Night Queen says she'll be waiting for us at the top of the ice castle. Everyone gets their anime resolve moment, and Tomomi shows up as a spirit to apologize and thank us. Now let me tell you, I cut out most of this dungeon because holy hell it's a maze and I was losing my mind. Before we head out, Nanjo gifts us with a dagger and an achievement, and then we set off. We grab the Spiegel set for Naoya and trade Ambrosia to Mr. Hiho over here, dressed like Raido Kuzunoha. You won't hear much about Raido in the series, but he's basically the reason the timeline isn't in the shitter like most SMT games. After literally 2 hours of random encounters, maze hell, and puzzle pain, we finally reach the top of this place. The Night Queen is joined by a couple of masked figures. You'll recognize one as Maki, but the other one, you'll recognize him by the end of Sebec. No clue why they're here, but I'm guessing they represent Naoya's subconscious fears and attachments. They are 2 of the most important characters in P1 after all. The masked dude escorts us up to the next floor where we have access to the Velvet Room, save point, and Trish healing. I spent quite a bit of time here just listening to music with speed up at full speed, running back and forth fighting enemies to hit level 99. Speed up definitely helped, but still, I respect anyone who did this on original hardware. I'm definitely not that brave. After that, it's Persona achievement time. There are 15 to get, but some of them require Sebec root or Mark's negotiation skills, so those are off the table. Lucifer, Kali, Indra, and Vohumana also get the axe because I'm not teleporting down the tower for low-level demons. That leaves just 2 for us to collect here. Amon-Ra, Naoya's ultimate persona, and Satan, crafted by maxing an Anubis, nuking him for the Prosecutor's Diary, and then fusing a Judgment persona. I also ended up making ultimate personas for the rest of the party, which weirdly enough, there's no achievements for. At the top of the tower, we see some fine demon ass
Smash.
and get tossed right into the final Snow Queen fight. Now this fight is a breeze with our ultimate personas. Ellie casts Tetrakarn and Naoya uses Makarakarn, making us basically invincible as long as SP holds. Yuka's magic stat slaps the boss while Yukino and Brown handle heals and backup damage, though I am underselling just how long this took. The footage is sped up almost 1,000%, but hey, we win, snag 2 achievements for the good end, and the Night Queen gives us a warning here which cements her connection to Nyx even more by saying, "Eternal night will fall again so long as people seek to turn hope to despair," which is eerily close to what Nyx says in Persona 3. The masked boy says we'll meet again, which is very accurate, and the school finally melts. The cast tells Miss Seiko that they're off to deal with Sebec now after their detour, and we roll credits. Before that, however, I do end up grabbing the achievements for creating Bishmoten, Skuld, Kali, Lucifer, Vohumana, and Indra. Then I replay the Snow Queen quest going for the bad ending, but I also pick up the Whoops achievement for going after the shard instead of helping Toro and Devil Boy. Later on, I also made sure to come back for the Caesar armor achievement as well, since I forgot about that. Lastly, we claim the Thanatos and Tartarus loot achievements and the one for getting the bad ending of Snow Queen before picking up a whopping 10 more for climbing Devil's Peak and taking out the bosses there. That'll clear out every single Snow Queen based achievement for Persona 1. Or so I thought. I actually ended up redoing Snow Queen with Nanjo just to be able to get Palace Athena and the achievement for the Caesar armor. That was frustrating, but I'm glad to be moving on to Sebec. Hey you! Yeah you! If you're still watching, you're clearly enjoying this video, so hit like to convince the algorithm I'm emotionally stable enough to keep making content. And while you're down there, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on helping me choose the next 100% completion or challenge run I regret committing to. Anyways, onto the Sebec route. We meet our friends back at the hole in the wall where we agree it's time to trash Sebec. Nanjo bursts in like the rich kid he is, announcing that Masayo's been thrown in jail. So now we're off to play bail the high schooler out of jail. But before we're able to go, who shows up out of nowhere? Maki. And acting like she just got brought in from another timeline, no less. She claims that she wasn't in the hospital and even asks what a police station is. Despite the red flags, we bring her along and she awakens to her persona Maso, or Meso. Regardless, as we roll up to the police station, I realize my party might be legally brain dead. But we can't access that section without a key. What to do? They might have left it somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe it's in this conveniently labeled box that says key. It doesn't take long from there till we find Masayo and Brown locked up, which makes me question exactly when Snow Queen ends and this route begins. We then get the choice to either let him join us or not. And of course, there's achievements tied to bringing each party member. So I allow Brown to join the team and then immediately ruin his hopes and dreams by reloading the game and saying no. Feeling a bit underpowered at this point, I hit up Igor like he's my dealer and we get some new personas. I grab Janice, Lilim, Gozuteno, and Shuki. Next up, we go to the subway where we find Ellie, who's completely optional but radiates that please pick me energy. She's super excited to join, so naturally I let her. Hooray! Then I immediately tell her she can't come. I do feel kinda bad, but we have a shirtless man to drag around with us. Finally, over at the factory, Nanjo questions Mark's intelligence and we pick up our last of the achievements I'll need to reload for. At least for now. Because we find Best Girl Ayase. She lets us know that, oh my god guys, like the school is totally gone, just like poof. We decide Kandori's probably behind it and we let Ayase join. And then once again reload to deny her. She calls us assholes and tells us to go to hell, which is kinda based. We open up the secret entrance to Sebec and then slowly but surely make our way through the dungeon where we pick up the treasure. I just found an AK! Eventually reaching Kandori's office and trying to commit a little bit of light murder. But surprise, Kandori and his bodyguard both have personas. Guess they agreed with their shadows that they're both pieces of shit. Also, if you take a quick look at Kandori, you can tell that he's the same masked boy from Snow Queen, having been a student council president of St. Hermelin back in the day. With our new personas, this boss fight is a joke. We mop the floor with Takeda and snag the No Time for Heal, Security Breach, and Raiding Sebec achievements. We catch up to Kandori, trying to use the Deva system to jump dimensions, but his lead scientist has other plans. He's ready to kill them both so they can atone. We have the option here to either pick the red button or the blue button. Red button cuts the power, whereas the blue one will amp it up. Red saves the scientist, so naturally I hit the blue one for an achievement, and then using the magical powers of save files, I reload the game, this time hitting the red one. This time a little ghost girl shows up and everyone gets isekai'd away because the buttons don't do shit. When we wake up, it seems like we're in the past from 6 months ago back at school. We head into class with everyone and get the rundown on everything where we meet Yosuke. No, not that one, this one. Turns out he's from our dimension. The gang kinda just assumed that him and his girlfriend Chisato ran off together, not that they were doing interdimensional tourism. Turns out the Maki we've been hanging out with is from here, which is why she didn't know what a police station was, because there isn't one here in this world. She apologizes, and the school gets attacked by that creepy little ghost girl again. Turns out her name is Aki, and she's going to be one of our main antagonists for Persona 1. We make our way through the third dungeon of this route when we run into our old pal Reiji. Yes, it's finally time to recruit him, and he certainly makes an entrance, summoning his persona and mopping up an ogre demon like it's nothing. We welcome him aboard and make our way to the courtyard with everyone to fight off Aki. She tells Maki that she has no tits, calls Mark a monkey, summons a big-ass metal rat with a gun on its back, and we throw hands. We slap it around for a few minutes, snag another achievement, and Aki rage quits, causing the school to go back to normal like none of that just happened. Yosuke tells us that he wants us to meet someone and takes us to meet the devil boy of this dimension who is suspiciously normal. He lets us know about everything that's going on right now and gives us a lead to follow. Someone named Philemon. Oh hey, I know that guy. We also take a look at the suspicious door in the middle of the room, which you should definitely keep locked and loaded in that little head of yours. Regardless, we head to Alaya Shrine to find our old buddy Philemon, and he lets us know that Kandori is sniffing around the east side of town. probably looking for something plot critical. If we want to pursue him and go home, we'll need the expel mirror. Reiji doesn't even blink and he's already halfway through the door. Man's entire personality right now is kill Kandori. Over at the cultural center, we grab the mirror and a girl in white tells us not to, but since it's kind of important, we just ignore her and move along. Into the subway for a very short dungeon, we grab this achievement for taking down the demon guarding the place, and once again Aki shows up to give us all sorts of warnings. As if that will keep us away. We keep heading forward and go into the mall, which in this world doubles as the black market. We grab a few upgrades, then head into the Peace Diner where we're told we can never leave, and they aren't kidding either. Every single door in this place loops back around like a Scooby-Doo hallway. So we enter our next dungeon, Kama's Palace. This place is a maze of wrong turns, dead ends, shirtless men, and ugly paintings, but eventually we make our way into the boss room of the Harem Queen. Turns out the Harem Queen everyone in this place kept worshipping and going on about is Chisato, Maki's bestie and Yosuke's girlfriend who also went missing with him. Ooh boy. This causes quite a bit of drama when she reveals that Aki gave her a mirror that grants wishes, and not only does she not like Yosuke, but she fucking hates Maki. The gang of course stands up for our friend, and in a fit of rage, Chisato throws us out of the dungeon and makes us do it again. Nice mechanic, Atlus. Backtracking through the dungeon, this time we grab the Raiding Kama's Palace achievement and re-enter Chisato's room, who now has more moles on her face. Turns out whenever she uses the mirror to grant a wish, she gets more of them. After some passive-aggressive art critiques, she asks us which painting we like more, hers or Maki's. Choosing Maki here locks us into a boss fight with only Maki and Naoya, but of course we do it because not only is it one of the key important choices we have to make, but it nets us an achievement post-boss fight. She turns our pals to stone, and Aki shows up saying if she kills us, she'll fix Chisato's face. Chisato is pretty easy, but I do love her animation when she starts the fight. It takes all but 15 seconds of Naoya shooting her to end this boss fight, scoring us the next 2 achievements. Aki ends up dipping with the "lol you suck, wasn't gonna fix your face anyway, okay thanks, bye." Despite all the hate, Maki still cares about her bestie. Yosuke shows up to comfort Chisato, and after some emotional healing and a solid apology, the mirror shatters, undoing her wishes and clearing her face. Chasing Aki down, we head to the big ass castle in town where she's like, "Sorry, you can't come in, daddy fucking hates you. If only you had the key to this place, but the other girl in white has it." And she locks us out. Reiji wants to solve this with violence, but we head to the Lost Forest instead. Once inside, we of course score us an achievement for gathering all the treasure, then meet Mai, the little girl in white. She quizzes us, and we purposefully bomb that quiz so we can fight her teddy bear for an achievement. No, Mr. Bear, he's dead. Now no one will be my friend. After beating him and reloading the game, we make the correct choices this time and solve this without violence for her compact, the key we needed, and of course, another achievement. Once in the castle, turns out Kandori wanted us to ask for the compact, and he tricks us by taking it from us once we try to use it as a key. Of course, that doesn't stop this group of teens, and we press on. Throughout this dungeon, as usual, we pick up the achievement for collecting all treasure, and finally we'll come face to face with our prey plus Aki. As Reiji mouths off to him, letting him know that this is the end of the line, we come to find out that Reiji and Kandori are brothers. Turns out Reiji's mom was used by Kandori's father and then tossed away. No wonder he wants Kandori dead. Before we can even begin our fight, Kandori orders Aki to shut us up, and Reiji, Mark, and Nanjo are all struck by lightning. That's when he reveals something pretty nuts. He pulls a mirror out right in front of our eyes and summons a whole ass dungeon in the middle of our hometown. He calls it Deva Yuga and lets us know that this is where he'll be watching as he destroys humanity, like some kind of bootleg god or something. After sicking a demon on us, he runs back to the real world and we begin our boss fight. This fight is over pretty much as easily as the rest by spamming our best damage skills along with Maki's heals and some gun attacks. At this point, we're all in agreement that we need to chase him down. Even Reiji, our human equivalent to a brick wall, starts to warm up to us. Maki lets us know that there's been rumors of people getting spirited away at the haunted mansion, so that'll be our best bet at getting our hands on Kandori. Spooky? Yes. Convenient plot hook? Also yes. At this point, I make sure to get Nanjo a new persona as he was feeling like the weakest of the group by far, and I'll definitely be glad I did. Due to the enemies being a much higher level here during this dungeon, I can't just rely on Estoma to skip every encounter anymore, and we're forced to actually engage with the combat system. Lucky for us, despite all the wrong turns and where the hell am I moments, it's not too bad to navigate, and eventually we'll make it to the boss door. On the other side of the door, the gang hears the sounds of a woman calling out to Maki and saying it's her mother. As we rush in, we come face to face with Haridi, who claims to be Maki's mom. The correct choice here is to lower your weapons, however there is another achievement tied to fighting her, so at first we fight back against her and it is a very tough fight due to us not having Maki. I end up having to rely on healing items for the most part, and this is the one fight in the game that took me more than 2 tries. However, with a lot of persistence and wasting a ton of healing items, eventually we pull out the win and get the achievement. At this point my game crashed, but it didn't really matter anymore since we needed to reload anyways. Upon returning to this room, we lower our weapons and find Maki's mom. Of course, not the Maki we have with us, but the real Maki. This is kind of an important scene, but I'll explain it in a bit more detail later. For now, Maki's mom says she'll stay here so she can keep the portal home active and lets us get back to chasing Kandori. Back in the real world, turns out the old scientist from earlier is alive. However, he's spouting the same crap Kandori was earlier, that humanity is flawed, blah blah blah. Kandori shows up and is all like, yeah, I control everything now. Wanna watch me make them kill each other? All before disappearing like the coward he is. This dungeon is easily the longest in the game, at least on the Sebec route. It's so long I had to cut out every random encounter and speed up the footage or we'd be looking at over 2 hours of dungeon. We do end up doing a shit ton of grinding here in order to get Maki the persona Tensen Nyan. Funnily enough, I didn't realize at the time, but this persona actually awakens for her canonically in the manga after she fights Chisato. Maki uses Samara Charm to revive Chisato after she's glass. Yeah, a bit more serious than the stern talking to we got in game, huh? She also apparently uses Tensen to take down Hypnos, but her supposed ultimate persona, Verdandi, never even shows up in the manga. Highly recommend the read if you want more persona lore as we go through the whole series though. Anyways, enough lore, let's keep going. We grab the achievement for the treasure like always and make our way up to Kandori, where we finally lay everything on the table. He asks us what our purpose in fighting so hard is, as he feels now that he's gotten everything he wants, nothing else matters anymore. We make the correct choice here this time because there's no achievement tied to making the wrong choice, and we begin fighting him. This fight is pretty tough, I won't lie. There's an achievement we need to get here which requires us to have nobody go down during the boss fight, so no more auto battle.
This is big brain time.
The first phase against Kandori's regular form can be summed up as kill when necessary and shoot always. Kandori himself is weak to guns, so that makes phase 1 super easy. Just heal when needed and keep blasting.
I started blasting. Bam, bam.
Then phase 2 hits and suddenly we hear the voice of Nyarlathotep. If you know Persona 2, you know this guy's a big deal. Like Philemon's chaotic evil cousin, he grants Kandori god powers just like he wanted, and the damage spike is immediate. First time I fought him, he punched Mark into the Shadow Realm so fast I couldn't even blink. This time, we play it smart though. Now you cast Tetrakarn, Maki's on magic reflect duty and healing, Nanjo and Mark spam Megidola for big damage, and Reiji keeps shooting Kandori's weak point or throws out items if things go sideways. We get a few close calls, but no deaths this time around, and after our long ass journey, Kandori is finally put down.
You're not that guy, pal, trust me, you're not that guy.
Kandori, like most anime villains, admits that we were right all along, but he's weirdly chill about dying. However, before he can disappear off this mortal coil, he drops one last bit of lore, that the entire world that we were exploring is a figment of our Maki's heart. As someone who started with Persona 3, 4, and 5, this absolutely melted my brain. You're telling me that not only is the Maki we've been hanging out with basically nothing more than the real Maki's shadow or a cognitive self, and the entire other world we've been running around in is almost like what Persona 5 would call one big palace? I mean, considering Mementos and Persona 5, it's not that outlandish that the real Maki's desires to be a normal girl could manifest into something that large using the Deva system. And that's why she kept saying she had no mom, because the real Maki believed her mom just didn't care about her. Let me quickly spout my first of many fan theories that I'll throw out during this video series. But for those who have played Persona 5 and know all about the cognitive science research, could what happened in Mikage-cho at this time in the Persona universe, along with Kandori's research, have been studied throughout the timeline and lead to what would later become known as cognitive science? I mean, apparently from what I've heard, based on some cut lines from Persona 5, this is pretty close to the truth. God, I just love lore so much, guys. Learning about stuff like this and coming up with theories always makes me giddy. To those who love the series as much as I do, go ahead and drop some comments down below so we can talk about more theories. Anyways, I better stop gushing before I end up ruining this video's runtime. For now, Maki runs out of the room clearly upset at this revelation, and upon chasing her down, we find the real Maki, strapped down to a hospital bed and connected to the Deva system, which is keeping her alive. Aki shows up pissed we killed her daddy, and idealized Maki, which is what I'll call her from now on, decides that this is all her fault. She pieces out with Aki and shatters the mirror, locking us out of her own world. Now this is where the game would end if we got the bad ending, but since it continues, we know we're on track to get the good ending. Nanjo suggests we shut down the Deva system and just let Maki die. Mark responds with a nice swift punch that I saw coming from orbit and tells Nanjo to stop being a dick. After some debate, we all agree that we're going to save Maki. We grab both the Maki's compacts, the real one along with the ideal Maki's, and a broken mirror shard, which yeets us back into the other world. There, we'll find Maki's mom in the Lost Forest, and we guide her deeper in to run into Mai and get the scoop on idealized Maki's spiral. When we finally reach her, she's still really torn up, but Naoya and Nanjo talk her down before having a heartfelt reunion with Mai and her mom. With our squad safely back together, we head for the Mikage ruins to do our last big grind sesh. I spend a shit ton of time here using full speed up in order to hit level 99 once again. And at this point, I felt like I spent more time doing sped up grinding than I did playing the actual game. We craft the personas Pallas Athena for Nanjo, Shiba for Mark, and Armady for Maki, but also we grab Ildenak for an achievement before maxing out what we can and turning them into gear so we can claim these 5 achievements. Also, at this point, I made sure to go for the negotiation armors here too, so we can cross off these 6 as well. I also spent some extra time getting Angel Whispers for the whole party, which only took like 20 minutes, once again thanks to speed up, making our persona rank grinding very fast. We meet up with Philemon once again at Alaya Shrine, and he tells us that only 2 can go into the next area, but that's fine by us. Maki and Naoya dive in together, and my stupid ass forgot to bring a persona with a stoma, so this just ends up being another random encounter hell. But eventually, we meet up with Naoya's shadow. Or cognitive self, but I think Shadow's closer to the mark here on this one, which is something most Persona protagonists will never get the chance to do. But assuming we've made all the correct choices here, which we have, we get the items needed to awaken the whole gang's ultimate Personas now. Hooray! They're mostly garbage, to be honest with you. At the end of the dungeon, we enter the Sea of Souls, a concept that'll echo even into Persona lyrics far down the timeline. The idealized Maki is finally able to talk to her real self in a bit of a twist to future entries. She gives us the 3rd and final compact and tells us to beat Pandora, the final copy of herself in the Avidya world. Remember that creepy door from earlier? Yeah, that's our final dungeon. One last tiny little grind session to get us all of the remaining Persona weapon achievements, except one, and Reiji becomes a god by equipping Lucifer. We also swap back to our Snow Queen save here to grab the Heaven's Gate achievement, which requires Michael, Ellie's ultimate persona. Before the final dungeon, idealized Maki and Chisato have one last heart-to-heart, and we dive in. Thanks to a stoma and level 99, we skip every encounter here. When we enter the boss room, we come face to face with Pandora, the last version of Maki, and damn, that is some kind of body horror.
What the hell is even that?
But on the bright side, this is one of the most kick-ass final boss themes in the series for me. Thanks to Reiji being able to hit over 8,000 damage on the boss, and now you're having Amon-Ra, which is literally made to kill the final boss, the whole fight becomes an absolute joke. Even Mark ends up hitting over 2k on some of his physical attacks. Eventually, Pandora transforms into her 2nd phase, but like the first, she can't do much. Thanks to Maki's heals and our fat-ass damage output, we conquer Persona 1's main campaign without much of a sweat. The idealized Maki accepts that they're all parts of Maki and says goodbye to everyone, but not before giving us our only confirmed romance in the entire series. She kisses Naoya and says she loves him. Philemon congratulates us by taking off his mask. Is that his real face? Who knows, Persona 2 kinda complicates things, but it is a nice moment. By the way, if you want to keep up with the lore of this series, Philemon and Butterflies, definitely keep that in mind. The game ends up wrapping up with a quiet epilogue. The events of the game fade from the memories of the general populace, the students keep their identities a secret, and we get a cutscene of everyone hanging out, graduating, and yup, Naoya and Maki are officially dating. Nanjo closes out by referencing Pandora's box and the last thing inside being hope, leaving us on quite the happy note. Of course, even with the story over, I'm not quite done, so sit still for just a few more minutes. Now that the story's beaten, we're able to head to the depths of the Mikage ruins, where we take down Alice in one hit to get our last totem needed for Persona Fusion. Then, of course, we take on every single boss in here in the Mikage ruins, which gives us one achievement each. Most of these weren't too bad, but like always, there were some close calls. You'll be able to see the full thing over in the sister video to this one on the 2nd channel if you really want to, but anyways, we head down to the Velvet Room one last time to fuse Beelzebub and obtain the last Persona-related achievement in the game. There's only one left to go now, and it's for the bad ending. Luckily for me, I was smart enough to keep multiple saves throughout this playthrough, and I could easily reload to the Mr. Bear fight and make bad decisions leading to the bad ending. And with that, we claim our last and final achievement, making Persona 1 mission complete. That makes this the 3rd game I've done on the channel 100%, and I definitely hope you've enjoyed it. Persona is by far one of my favorite series of all time and is deeply close to me, as it's the series me and my girlfriend bonded over all the time before she passed away. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in Persona 2, but even if not, I'm glad you were here. Bye bye!